Hello there. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be playing the solo tabletop RPG called Heroic Goat Herder. It sounds silly, but it actually looks like a lot of fun. So, all you need to play this game are a couple of d6s, which I got right here, a deck of playing cards, which I got right here, and a journal or anything to write down what takes place as part of the game. So the whole gist of this game is that you're playing as a goat herder, as a shepherd who lives. Let's see. Let's just read off what it says. You, the player, are a goat herder living a peaceful life in a cottage located in a verdant valley until one day, upon returning from the nearby village with supplies, you discover that your goats have vanished. All but one, your most trusted goat, who I've named as Greta, has gone missing. My course is clear. You must set out into the world and find or rescue your missing goats. So, today we're going to be playing as a character named Alex. They are an elderly elf, super old, used to be an adventurer, went all over the world exploring, helping, saving people, all the regular shenanigans. But in their elderly age, they've decided to retire and just live a simple life herding goats. And so the deck of cards that we're going to be using is the Pride Knights deck. I haven't actually had a reason to use it yet, so I'm really excited to use it. Look at all this beautiful art. Look at all this beautiful art. It's so pretty. I love it so much. Alright. I'm really bad at shuffling, so give me a second. I will shuffle this. And then we'll play the game. We'll get started. So. Alright. There we go. Good enough. There we go. We got the deck of cards. Let's see. Which dice is going to represent Hilda? We'll do the flower. Flower represents Greta, sorry. All of these other dice represent the goats that have been missing. We will find them soon. Don't know if we're going to make it to get all of them. Probably not, but we'll see how far we get. So, we come home from the market, selling our nice goat cheese and milk, when all of our goats are gone, except for Greta, who's just chilling there, eating some nice yummy grass. As soon as we get home, she runs over to me all panicked because all the other goats are gone. So, Alex drops everything, puts everything away, puts the cart in the little shed, and fishes out their old hammer, their old armor, all of the things that they'd put in a chest, hoping to never have to use again. And they get all geared up, and side by side with their best pal Greta, they set out on the road in search of their lost herd. So, we're going to play solo, obviously. This is technically a game that you can play with other people, in which you are all working together to try and find the goats. But we're going to do this solo. So, how this works, we pull a card. This will determine what event occurs. And then we roll the d6s. We only have one for now. One represents each of the goats. We roll a d6 and determine whether or not we succeed or fail. Well, not succeed or fail, but whether or not we gain a wound or if we gain an advance. An advance is a point that leads towards you getting one of your goats back. So we got a 10 of hearts. A 10 of hearts is quicksand. Let's see how we deal with the quicksand. Let's see. Come on. Good roll. 3. Okay, we gain an advance. Perfect. Let me write down that mark. All right. Alex and Greta start snooping around the farm. They start looking around, trying to figure out. Oops, don't move the camera. Trying to figure out what happened to the other goats. There's obviously hoof prints everywhere because this is where the goats graze. It's where they hang out. But it looks like all of the goats were chased by something, and they ran and broke through the fence that portioned off this part of the settlement. Alex and Greta follow the trail into the wilderness as the farmstead is just in this very verdant little valley that on the edge of the valley it kind of disappears, fades into harsh forests and trees. And so Alex and Greta enter the forest, and Alex is too preoccupied with following the trail which is starting to scatter. All of the goats are starting to head in different directions, but we're following one of them, the one that's kind of in the middle, heading straight forwards. And their foot sinks with the first step that they take, and they look up to see that there's a big old pool of what looks like very fine powdery dirt. They lift out their foot, and dread fills their stomach as they get the feeling that this might have been the end of one of their goats. As Alex starts to preemptively grieve the loss of one of their goats, Greta pulls on their little sash, on their pants, and gestures with her head to the footprints that go around the quicksand. As it looks like whichever goat they seem to be following went around, was smart enough to not get swallowed up by the quicksand. This card over here. Alright, next adventure. 6 of clubs. Let's see. 4. We can gain another advance. Alex and Greta continue following the footprints through the woods, and they stumble across what looks like a beautiful meadow of flowers. It's not very big, but it definitely looks like one of the goats had stayed and rolled around here as the path meanders through the flowers, and there's a dip in the flowers where one of the goats had laid down and rolled around, probably getting a nice itch scratched out before it moved on. Seeing as this is the very beginning of their adventure, Alex and Greta continue on without stopping. Give me a card. Alright, a Jack of clubs. Let's see. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. So with that, Alex and Greta continue on their adventure through the forest, following this goat's trail. But soon enough, they come across a large ravine that crosses through the forest. Luckily, there's a stone bridge, and it looks like, following the trail, that this little goat managed to cross the bridge into the other side of the forest. However, Alex looks over the bridge and it doesn't look very stable. There's cracks running all through it. The foundation itself seems to be pretty weathered and old. However, Alex has no choice and steps 1 foot on the bridge, just testing it. The rocks seem to hold. They take another step and another step, and the rocks start to shift. Alex and Greta run across the bridge. They leap just as the bridge crumbles underneath their weight. And Greta makes it across just fine, but Alex barely manages to hold on to the edge, scraping all down their side. Their arms getting a big old scrape along the side that just trails blood everywhere as Alex pulls themselves up, Greta trying her best to help. Alex just sits there on the edge of this ravine, looking down at the bridge that has crumbled down into the far depths below. Takes a breath and continues on. Now, wounded. You've gained 1 wound. I've shuffled this deck so many times. How is it that we're getting clubs all the time? 6! Yay! We gain an advance and a heroic potential, which means we have the option to re-roll a dice. After taking a moment to breathe, Alex pulls themselves up and continues following the trail of this goat. It leads towards what appears to be a house built within a small clearing on stilts. The house itself is about 5 feet above the ground. Alex observes it oddly, as this doesn't seem to be an area that would flood naturally, and looks around suspiciously, as there must be a catch. There must be a reason why this house is built on stilts. And as they look around, they look down and notice the lush undergrowth is moving. Just underneath the quaint leaves are vines that are very slowly making their way towards Alex and Greta. And Greta had taken a few steps into the clearing out of curiosity, and Alex reaches and pulls Greta back with a gesture, and Greta darts back towards them as the vines lash out towards the two, and Alex swings their mace, their giant warhammer, and smashes the vines into the ground. Whoever's house this is, it seems to be well guarded, so Alex and Greta decide to leave it alone. How do I keep getting clubs? This is crazy. Yay! We got 4 advances, which means we get a goat. We find a goat. We find a goat. Let's name this goat Hilda. Hilda the goat. Alrighty. As we pass by this house, it seems that this area is somewhat populated. This region of the woods, as Alex and Greta stumble across what looks to be a cemetery, a graveyard. But as they approach, they notice the atmosphere itself starts to darken, and a low rolling mist sweeps in through the trees, kind of just dancing among the headstones. Alex trepidatiously peeks over the small iron fence surrounding this graveyard and sees a much more welcome sight. Within the graveyard, eating some of the weeds and plants growing on the graves, is a goat. The goat Hilda. Alex rushes forward and embraces the goat, who is completely unharmed and just seemed to be having a good time munching on some weeds. However, as they enter, they notice a very faint sparkle of magical energy along the outside of the crypt of the graveyard, and the earth beneath each headstone starts to pulsate, as if something from deep underground was trying to exit, was trying to climb its way to the top. With another goat in tow, Alex, Greta, and Hilda quickly run away from this apparently cursed graveyard and continue on their adventure to find the rest of the herd. Alright, let's pick a dice for Hilda. Let's do these green dice. Alrighty. Let's see what happens next. Diamonds! 4 of diamonds. Alrighty, let's see. Oh no, a 2 and a 3. Oh! The highest D6 results. Okay. So we gain another advance. As the troop continues, they find themselves walking on a nice, clearing path. There doesn't seem to be any goat paths nearby, but along this path, Alex suspects that they're heading back towards home, but they're going to have to find another way across that ravine. So following this path for now is as decent a way as any. But as they continue, they see up ahead a large bush casting a very suspicious shadow. And as they approach, Alex stops and holds out their hands to hold the goats back as an ominous growling starts emanating from the bush. Alex steps forward, great hammer in hand, as a large two-headed wolf steps from the bush, red eyes glowing bright. It lunges forward, two bellies to fill with such lovely hungry goats, and Alex makes quick work, slamming the hammer into one head, slamming the hammer into another, sticking the hilt of it through its gullet, and plastering the wolf's blood among the path. The goats remain safe and sound, and they continue on their path. 9 of clubs. Let's see. 1 and 3. We got another advance. As Alex, Greta, and Hilda continue on their adventure, they start to hear the rumbling of incredibly fast rushing water as they stumble across a river, a wide and deep rushing river. Alex looks across the river then at the goats and gives a heavy sigh. How are we going to cross this? They ask to themselves. They start walking along the riverbank, hoping to come across a bridge or anything that could help them get across. They come across what looks to be an old, decrepit watchtower that had once stood on the bank of the river. However, time and nature have eroded it and caused it to collapse, almost crossing the river completely. Alex straps their warhammer to their back, heaves up both the goats in both arms, and steps out onto the old rocky ruin. They carefully walk across this ancient, eroded tower, the water spraying over, leaving it damp and slippery. Alex makes it halfway across when the tower suddenly jerks and cracks in half, and leaving about a 5-foot gap between this part of the tower and the next as the water rushes through. Alex takes a breath, holds the goats tight, takes a few steps back, then rushes forward and leaps over the gorge and lands safely on the other side. Alex and the goats make it safely across the river and continue on their adventure. Three of clubs. Not clubs. Ace. What are those? Shade? God, I can't remember. What are they called? Spades. 3 of spades. No way. 3 and 1 again. Just as the sun starts to set and Alex starts looking for a place to make camp, the forest breaks. And there, in the middle of this godforsaken forest, is a city. A big ol' city of stone and thatch. As Alex enters, the city folk, they look at Alex with confusion and contempt, as there's no reason for a goat herder like us to be here in this mean-looking city. Alex finds the local inn, but doesn't feel comfortable leaving the goats outside as people start looking at them hungrily. instead of taking their chances and losing their goats to hungry townsfolk and greedy butchers, they take their goats and they leave the city. As they leave, a member of the nearby stables just outside the city walls walks over to them and mentions that they'd seen a lone goat wandering the woods not earlier that day, and suggested heading north. As if that was their goat, then it might still be out there. Let's see what happens next. Ace of Hearts. Oh no. 5. We got another goat. We got another goat. Alrighty. As Alex, Greta, and Hilda find a nice little area to sleep for the night, Alex leans against the tree, stretching their old legs, massaging their old creaky knees. The 2 goats lay curled up next to them and get ready to sleep. But as Alex closes their eyes, they hear a very faint buzzing and a high-pitched giggling sound from just out of earshot. They peek an eye open and see the very, very faint glimmers of what looks to be light. Little, almost firefly-like lights in the distance. Alex sighs heavily and gets up, picks themselves up, shakes out their achy legs, achy knees, and walks towards what they assume to be some fairies. The fairies giggle as they approach, in their high-pitched voices whispering to each other, and the fairies say,
"Ooh, a goat herder. I wonder. Are you missing more goats, mixed goat herder?"
Alex looks at the fairies, who dance around in their faintly glowing lights in this dusk light, and gives a nod. "Yes, I've lost many of my goats. Could you help me find one? Have you seen one nearby?" The fairies giggle some more, and they convene together, speaking in their high-pitched whispers. One of them splits away and approaches.
"Well, we definitely seen a little goat. But I don't know if we gonna tell you."
The rest of the fairies giggle.
"At least, not without a challenge. You have to do something for us first."
The fairies all giggle some more, and another dances forwards in the air.
"The challenge is simple. We want honey. But there's an awful nasty bear guarding the nearest honey hive. You must steal the honey without angering the bear. Then we'll tell you where your goat is."
Alex sighs. Much too old to be dealing with fairies and their mischief, but agrees. They leave their hammer behind, as it would cause nothing but a ruckus in this stealth mission. The fairies lead Alex to the beehive, while a few of them stay back to guard the goats. Alex knows that fairies are tricky creatures, but they are usually harmless. They like playing their games, but they honor their word most of the time. Alex surveys the situation, seeing the beehive tucked away in the hollow of a tree, with a family of bears laying around it, all, thankfully, asleep. Alex takes a breath, then tiptoes over through the bears, ever so careful not to step on any twigs, and makes it to the tree. They carefully grasp the beehive and gently twist it free of its lodge in the tree. It starts to buzz faintly as some of the bees wake up, and they glance back and can see the fairies in the woods giggling as the lights of their wings flicker with their enjoyment. Alex breathes deep and takes a step back, another step back, and bolts towards the fairies as one of the bears rouses and looks around. It looks left, it looks right. And then it nuzzles its face back into its paws and goes back to sleep. Alex, who had tucked behind a tree, holds the beehive to their chest and then leans over, breathing heavily. They offer the beehive to the fairies, and the fairies take it with a high-pitched giggling.
Aha! You got it, you got it, you got it! Time to show you where your goat is.
The fairies lead Alex back to the other two goats, where there are no longer two goats. There are, in fact, 3 goats. As, let's see, what do we name the third goat? Greta, Hilda, and let's do Shauna. Let's keep with the A at the end theme. And the third goat, Shauna, has been returned. Alex slumps to the ground, embraces all 3 of their goats, and goes to bed. Oh. Another advance. Oh, we get another one. Let's see. You are Opal. You're the Opal dice. The more dice that we get, I feel like it's more difficult to lose. To gain a wound or anything. Alright. So, Alex and the troop wake up in the morning, fairies nowhere to be seen, and continue on their adventure. They find their way back to the river, and it looks like the river passes right through the ravine that leads back to where the rest of the goats had gone. Thankfully, there's a small fishing village living just on this river, and Alex approaches and asks around for a boat that would be willing to take on 3 goats and a very cranky, very old elf. It takes a while, as most of the fisher people are busy with, catching fish, but after flashing some coin, one of them is willing to take them on, and all of them cram into this little fishing boat and take off down the river. Alex is fine with boats. They've been on boats plenty of times in their travels, but the goats are not having it. They are not happy. They are trying to scramble off of each other. They keep trying to jump overboard, trying to escape the rocking vessel. They're just not having a good time. But they manage to make it back to the familiar part of the forest, back towards the meadow, where the fisher drops them off, and they continue on their adventures back on land. Ace of Diamonds. More fairies. I feel like I already got fairies, so I kind of want to skip this one. I already got that one very recently too, so Jack. Okay. The boat ride took a majority of the day, and as Alex starts looking for a place to spend the night, they find what looks like a bone. Just sticking out of the ground, they find a bone. For a moment, they panic. This could be a goat bone, but no, it's far too large. It looks most likely to be that of a deer, and as they look around, they find more bones. And a different dread settles in their stomach as they realize they must have stumbled into some creature's lair. They look around, eyeing the woods, and step back, hands going out protectively to shepherd the goats near. When from behind they hear low rumble, and Alex slowly turns to see that what they thought to be a boulder moves and bristles with fur as a massive, towering bear that had been slumbering behind wakes up and looks down at the 3, 4 if you count Alex, delicious morsels that have stumbled directly into its lair. Alex whips out their great hammer and gestures for the goats to scatter backwards, to stay out of this bear's reach, knowing that there's no way they could outrun this ferocious monster. And Alex would have to fight. The bear lunges forward, and Alex slams its paw into the tree with their big-ass hammer, and the bear howls in pain and looks at its fairly damaged paw, then at Alex. It roars angrily and tries to bite them, but Alex slams its head with its hammer, and teeth go flying as its jaws slam shut with the force of the attack. The bear takes several steps back, recognizing that it most likely will not win this fight, and it limps off into the woods. Alex turns quickly and finds that their 3 goats are hiding in the trees behind. They gesture, and the goats come running. And they continue on their adventure. 3. They continue walking through the woods when they come across music. They come across what sounds like music in the distance, and they see light coming up from the woods. Seeing as it's getting dark, Alex thinks that it might be a good idea to just check out what that light is, see if they're friendly, and would be a nice, peaceful place to camp for the night. As Alex approaches, they see humanoids dancing, tents, carts, and lights, fires, campfires. And they smell the delicious scent of cooked meat. Again, they have a minor heart attack, wondering if the food being served is one of their goats. But they take a breath and pray to whichever gods they believe in that this is not the case. And they enter into the small clearing and are immediately welcomed by a pair of twins, one wearing a bright blue jacket with poofy sleeves and the other wearing a bright yellow jacket with poofy sleeves. They approach and immediately both in sync, speaking as one, ask, "Oh, are you lost? Welcome to our traveling circus. For a small fee, you can spend the night with us and see the wonders of our performance." Alex looks on at the rest of the carnival and gives a faint sigh, fishes out some gold pieces and hands it over. Just some place to stay for the night would be fine, they say. The two swipe the gold and dance back into the camp. An older man approaches with a big old top hat and says, "Oh, did you bring us dinner, I see? How lovely." Alex takes a step back and is like, No. These are my goats. They are not food. They are not for eating. By chance, have you found any goats recently?" What must be the caravan master gives a thoughtful expression. "Ah, we did find some goats. In fact, they have been tasting very delicious. But one of them ran away. One of them managed to escape our traps, our hunters." Alex gives a very unhappy look towards the caravan master, but just sighs, closes their eyes, and gives Greta a scritch on the head. 2 goats down, but at least there's one in these woods somewhere. Alex hunkers down within this camp and goes to sleep with their 3 goats curled around them. And in the morning, they wake up and all of their goats are dead. Just kidding. Oh, this is the exact same card as the previous one. 6 of spades. Okay. We already had this one earlier, but that's fine. Let's see. Another 5. In the morning, Alex takes off, says farewell to the campsite, wishes them luck in their endeavors, and takes off in the direction that their goat had seemingly fled the previous day. They and their 3 goats run and run and run until they come across a beautiful pasture, another beautiful meadow of wildflowers. Alex looks at the 3 goats that they have found and sits helplessly in the meadow. This is the 3rd day of searching, and they only found 2 goats. At this point, the rest of the goats must have been long eaten or killed, as it seems the night before 2 of them became dinner. Greta, Hilda, and Shauna all snuggle in, nuzzling into Alex, trying to offer what support they can, when a 4th snout nuzzles into the back of Alex's head, and they turn to see another goat. Another one of their lost goats has found them. It must have been hanging out nearby in this meadow, and it saw them, and it ran over to say hello. Let's do this one. Alex bursts into tears and hugs the goat and shakes and weeps and takes a deep breath and wipes away the tears. 3 days, 3 goats. That means that if we keep going, we'll find another goat the next day. And by that logic, we'll find 10 goats in 10 days. They steel themselves. They pat the goats that they have found thus far. And we regain one when we heal up one wound. We heal. We heal. And with that, we continue on our adventure. Okay. Alex, and I need to name the other goat. What do I name you? Greta, Hilda, Shauna, Lana. Alex, Greta, Hilda, Shauna, and Lana continue their quest, searching through the entire woods for the rest of the day. The woods shift from tall redwood trees to more timber pines. Well, redwood trees are pine. I don't know what I'm talking about. They shift from tall redwood trees to thinner, smaller pine and oak. And just as night starts to fall, Alex sees a small cottage in the distance. The cottage is very quaint, with beautiful flowery ivy blooming, crawling all over the outside, and a well-maintained cobbled fence surrounding it. Within this cobblestone wall, it's not very tall, it's only about 2 or 3 feet, is 2 cows and a goat. Unfortunately, Alex doesn't recognize the goat. After a moment of hope, Alex doesn't recognize the goat and gives a sad sigh. However, a human man walks around the outside of the cottage carrying what looks like just a bundle of sticks and gives a wave. Hello, traveler. We don't get very many visitors these days. Why don't you come in for supper? My husband always has a habit of cooking too much. Alex gives a nod, and the man says, "Why don't you cut up some wood while we wait for dinner? And I'll tend to your animals. I'll give them some nice feed. They look a little bit hungry. You must have been on the road for a while." Alex nods and puts down their hammer, taking up the axe instead. While chopping the wood, Alex regales this kind young man with the tale of their current adventure and their missing goats. He sympathizes and mentions that his husband had seen a few goats running several days back through the woods as if they were being chased by something while he was hunting. He couldn't see what was chasing them, but he let them be. They must still be in the woods somewhere around here. So, Alex and the goats have a nice evening with a very kind couple, and they head out the next morning, refreshed and ready to go, with a new trail. More boats. We already did this one. 3. We already did this one too. Let's see, 7 of hearts. Oh, I love this card. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. You can really see it. Look at it. It's so pretty. I love these cards. They form a big painting if you put them all together. They form 4 different paintings if you put them all together. It's so pretty. And so, Alex and crew continues on the next day of adventure, day 5. Right? Or is this day 6? I don't know, I've lost count. I think it's day 5. Oh, I need to roll. Ooh, we get a heroic point. Heroic potential. I have lost my pen. As Alex and crew continue on walking through the woods, it's getting a bit difficult for Alex to keep track of all of the goats as they start to wander off in different directions, following their noses, following their appetites. When they hear a crunch and they look over to see one of the goats has stepped on something. A big old mound. A beehive. Alex gasps and barely has time to speak before the bees awaken and they start swarming and attacking everything. Enraged that their home has been destroyed, Alex swings their hammer left and right, trying to hit as many bees as possible. But they just keep getting stung. The goats keep getting stung. And they end up just running, fleeing blindly through the trees, trying to escape the bees. They stumble into a nice little pond, and the bees scatter as they dive beneath the waves. Alex peeks their head up and breathes and touches their face that is covered in bug and bee stings. Carefully picks out one of the stingers and flicks it away. They look at the shore where the goats have followed them. Not too disturbed by the bees, it seems. Alex sighs, glad that the bees seem to target them and not the goats, and slowly picks themselves up out of the water. No wound for that one, but they are going to have a little bit of a bad day. It's going to be very itchy. 8. Oh. Awkward. Another 6. Another heroic potential. As Alex pulls themselves out of the water, they hear a voice, a very familiar voice. They hear a very familiar voice shouting from the side, "You've got to be shitting me." They look over, dread filling their gullet as they see the silhouette of an elven woman standing off to the side with a walking stick and a single goat. Alex groans, and all of the goats rush over to this woman, excited to see her. Alex pulls himself out of the water and shakes it off, pulls out some of the bee stings, and looks towards their ex, who leans down and rubs all of the goats' faces and then looks up at Alex. "Don't tell me you lost them. Is that why you're out here? You lost them?" Alex takes a big breath and steps forward. "No, I did not lose them. Something took them. Thank you very much." Their ex looks so incredibly disappointed. "You steal our goats. You take all of them except for one. and you lose them. You lose our goats. We were supposed to raise these together, and you stole them. Then you lost them. Alex continues picking out bee stings from their arms, their leg, their hands. Like I said, I didn't lose them. Something happened, and something happened, okay? I didn't lose them. I'm finding them. Their ex, let's call her Samantha, just gives a look of such incredible disappointment and frustration. If you weren't covered in bee stings, I would slap you. Alex looks at her, gives a heavy sigh. What are you doing out here, Samantha? Well, when you left and took everything, she says, very passive-aggressively, I went and bought a new goat because you took them all, and I started a farm not very far from here. I heard the ruckus that you were making, so I came to check and see if anybody needed help, but clearly you do not want my help, and I do not want to give you my help. So goodbye. Good luck finding all of the goats that you lost. With that, Samantha turns, takes her goat, and leaves. Alex, feeling dejected, takes the rest of their goats, the goats that they took in the divorce, so to speak, and continues on their adventure. I keep getting these ones. I kind of want to roll really low, but I keep rolling really high. Look at that, 2 6s and a 3. Like, I have 4 heroic potentials. Like, I don't even know what to do with these because I just keep... It's, like, impossible for me to get hurt or wounded or anything. Alex continues on their way, herding the goats. I'm trying to keep them out of trouble. And they come across a fairly standard dirt road that's clearly been paved. They don't remember seeing it in this region as they aren't quite sure where they are exactly. But they're glad to have some form of landmark. Alex continues walking along the road, heading south, when they come across a little camp off to the side. But as soon as they see the tent, they recognize who it is immediately. They give a heavy sigh and wonder how it's possible that they could have run into 2 enemies at once, or 2 nemesises, within such a short amount of time. They try to keep the goats quiet and turn around to keep walking along the road when they hear the voice of their old nemesis. No way. Alex. What are you doing out here, silly? Aren't you supposed to be off with your goats somewhere in some nice little beautiful cottage, living your idyllic cottagecore dreams? What are you doing here? Alex turns to see their rival. Let's say Gary, for old time's sake. Another elf. Another elderly elf who stands from their camp, who stands up in his camp and looks at Alex with complete and utter confusion and delight. He bounds over and punches Alex in the shoulder. Don't tell me you've gotten so tired of the quaint and quiet life of being a farmer already. It's only been 20 years. Alex sighs and rolls their eyes. What are you doing here, Gary? Well, there's a den of wyverns nearby, and I'm hunting them, obviously. Some people don't give up on their dreams. Alex sighs again. You know, not everybody had the same dream, Gary. Clearly yours is chasing goats around. What are you doing out here with all of your little guys? Alex sighs. I'm looking for one of my goats. It ran off. It was scared by something. Have you seen it? Gary gives them a delighted look. Maybe. But if you want any answers on any hints as to where your runoff goat might be, first, we have to battle. Alex groans and takes out their axe and sets it off to the side, knowing exactly what kind of battle Gary wants. Gary steps back and does a little twirl and initiates a dance battle. They both, in the middle of the road, pull out some moves, and it goes on for a good 10-15 minutes before they both have to stop because they're both old and they're both tired. And they both sit on the side of the road while the goats graze in the grasses. And Gary pats Alex on the shoulder with his knuckles. You've still got it. You still got it, Alex. Your goat went to the south. I saw it heading there when I was scouting the area. Like I mentioned, wyverns nearby. You might want to catch up quick. And with that, Alex hurries off to try and find their goat, their last goat, before it gets snatched up by wyverns or worse. King of Hearts. Ooh, it's so pretty. Look at that. Look at it. Look at the details on the armor. Look at the froggo on the head. It's so cute. Oh, this deck of playing cards is the best. Alright. This is the perfect one. The perfect one to end it on. 6. I have 5 heroic potential and I don't even need it. I don't need any of them. As Alex and the goats continue on, Alex notices off the side of the road the little pitter-patter feet, the trail of a goat leading off into the woods. Alex gasps with delight and chases off into the woods, bounding off into the woods after their last goat. They chase the trail for a good 30-40 minutes before humanoid footprints join the mix. And they see that the goat has been dragged off in a different direction. It had been chased and captured. Alex follows the footprints, and as night starts to fall, they see in the distance approach what seems to be some kind of ritual altar with dozens of people wearing hoods and dark cloaks, standing around the altar, praying, singing, chanting in a language that Alex doesn't understand. And sitting atop the altar is Alex's last goat. Let's see, what do we name the goat? Greta, Hilda, Shauna, Lana, Morana, Abriana. The last goat, Abriana. It seems that they're worshipping the goat. Alex breathes a sigh of relief that Abriana is alive, but wonders how in the hells are they going to save her from all of these weird-ass cultists. They doubt that going up and asking for their goat to be returned would solve anything, and would probably cause them to take the goats that they do have as more mascots. Alex thinks and thinks and thinks. Oh god, don't cause problems. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, okay. Hello. Hello there. Yes, hello. Do you want to be part of the story? Do you want to play a game with me? Yes you do. Yes you do. Alright, off you go. Alex thinks long and hard, but runs out of time to think as one of the cultists steps up behind Abriana with a big old butcher's axe and is about to land the finishing blow. Alex moves without thinking and bursts through. Oh god, hello, no, off. And bursts through the crowd, shouting a raging war cry. My cards. And throws their warhammer at the cultist about to kill their goat. The warhammer smashes into their head and they go tumbling backwards. There's gasps and shouts throughout the crowd, and Alex picks up Abriana, takes their hammer, and runs back into the woods as quick as they can. The rest of the goats follow behind, and Alex charges back home. Through the night, Alex and their goats make it safely back home, where they don't get eaten by cultists, and Alex only lost 2 goats to the carnival. And with that, the story comes to an end, as Alex succeeds in getting 5 out of 7 goats. Plap. Shuffle these back in. Alrighty. You guys can see me attempt shuffling terribly. Alrighty. This game was fun. It was very cute, very fun. I love using the cards. I love the aspect of using the cards. Let's take a look at some of this art. This awesome art. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. It's so good. This is just a 1-page game, so don't expect a lot out of it. But for what it is, for it being a 1-page game that was made in like 11 hours, it's very cute. A nice little 1 hour game. Just a little work your mind a little, work your creativity a little. Short and sweet. If I had to have any critiques, it would be that the moment you get more than 1 goat, it becomes pretty much impossible to get wounded, which kind of seems counterintuitive. It would make more sense, in my opinion, for it to be more dangerous the more goats that you have. My little dice bag. Put the dice back. Twink. Need these for playtesting later. It's a cute game. It's a fun game. It's a nice little, 2-page, very simple, little improv game. I can see that it would be fun to play with other players, multiple players too. But as a solo game, it's a fun little chance to practice some improv. But yeah, pretty fun. Very short and simple, sweet. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye! Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and check out my Ko-fi linked in the description for dice-themed TTRPG candles. Thanks for all your support. Bye!